listen. Let me get to this first topic, right? Do you believe that modern men deserve feminine and submissive women?
Oh, you changed the question up. I was actually about to say, can I ask the question before I start?
Oh, okay. All right, sure.
Just make sure for y'all knowing, everybody watching, y'all understand the difference between, passion and aggression, right? Everybody got that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because when I talk, I don't want to hear that I'm coming off masculine or anything.
It's a possibility you could still be coming off masculine.
Just because you want us that you're going to be masculine. No. We understand masculine energy, so you know what I mean? We do. I do understand what you're saying.
But passion does fuel aggression sometimes too, though. So, I mean, it's not necessarily like a fine line.
I feel like when I think of aggression, it's more like somebody in your face getting violent, yelling.
But that can come from passion, though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
I don't know. I feel like one is emotion and the other one is more of an action. And masculine energy is more about doing. Feminine energy is more about emotion and being, right?
Okay, so, all right. Well, you're the first woman in 100 episodes to ever actually have a definition of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But so back to the topic. Do you think modern men deserve feminine and submissive women?
Most modern men, no, I don't think they do.
So what do you think they deserve?
We could get to that, or you want to go around? I mean, it's just like most modern men nowadays are feminine. So a feminine and submissive woman, femininity, like feminine energy and feminine energy, just it clash. It's like two alphas. It's not gonna work. So how are you gonna have somebody that's submissive to you if you're just as feminine as me? I can't trust your leadership, you know? If that makes any sense.
We could double back to that. What about you? You think modern men deserve feminine and submissive women?
No. Okay. It's only because a lot of modern men feel like they deserve it. I'm pretty sure all men feel like they deserve it.
They're not qualified.
But a lot of men, there it is. They're not qualified. Because you could be doing blah, 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 and if I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting as a woman, and you're not coming back to me as a man, then why am I giving you feminine energy? You don't deserve it.
So y'all giving a masculine energy? I'm just confused.
I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah, I'm just
so
not
you're not just giving no energy.
No.
Okay. I mean, what about you?
I can't say it's like a yes or no. I think sometimes things are like a little bit nuanced. I don't think you can just say no because not everybody's the same. You can't say every man is the same because that's not the truth, right? So, and every woman's not the same because I don't think that's the case. People are dynamic. But I think that nowadays, I think a lot of people expect certain things out of women without necessarily putting in the work. And I think sometimes we don't realize like how far we've come from like what courting is or what dating is and what really envelops, the essence of that. And yeah, so I can't say, I guess no, but at the same time, I think it depends on the right person and what they're willing to, if they're willing to actually court you properly in order to help me out.
That's why I said most modern men, because there are some modern men that, they're in their masculine and they understand that you're supposed to pursue a woman and court her and how to treat a woman. They understand they're supposed to protect and provide. But then you have the other half where they're just trying to figure out life and figure out where they fit in at. So a lot of them beat on their chest like King Kong and say they're alpha when they're really just a beta. Then you got some of them that claim that I'm masculine when they're really feminine, Society and a lot of things that's on social media, especially red pill content, got niggas messed up. Well, men messed up. So.
Well, let me say this too. I think a lot of things now, like we're used to instant gratification as a society. I think now we want things when we want it. So I think some men, when they tend to approach women, they look at it like, oh, well, these are the things I want up front, And it's like, okay, well, what can you give me? And it's not necessarily about physical, tangible items or anything like that. But in general, like what could we bring to the relationship? What's the intent behind it? Mm-hmm. Are you just here to just take what I have to offer, or is it, is it more?
I think men, we just generally sometimes want to know what you do offer, like more or less. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? I think
it's almost like an investment. I mean, dating is an investment. You pursuing the right woman is an investment. So men want to know what's the return on investment. You get what I'm saying? And this is why that question about, what do you bring to the table is not so necessarily like I'm on a first date with you. I'm like, yo, what do you bring to the table? Mm-hmm. I need to know because some women only do offer sex and they think the sex is good enough to keep a man and then bring other things.
Right.
So that's what men are wanting to know because some women ain't offering much outside of that. You get what I'm saying? So now it's like, if I'm doing all this courting, what am I realistically getting back in return? Like, you know what I mean?
But I guess my thing is too, if you were to flip the tables and ask a man, okay, well, what can you offer me? Then I think sometimes they tend to get offended, like, oh, you're after my money, or you only want what I have, or if I'm somebody. Meanwhile, it's like, well, you're asking me that, so why can't I ask you the same question?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think the question in the whole to ask each other that is stupid, because I feel like when you're dealing with someone, you watch them, you study them, right? So you should know, like, what you got yourself into. You should have a good discernment to know, okay, well, this woman is this, and that. And if I deal with her, I can get this, and that before you start investing your time and money and everything like that, And I do feel like you should know a woman's worth, just like a woman should know a man's worth. So for me to have to sit down and, if we're on a date and say, well, Eli, what you bring to the table? Why did I even give Eli the time of day if I didn't know that from the beginning?
Yeah, but the thing is, me personally, I know how to articulate myself where I can tell a woman what I can bring to the table. I would never get offended by that. You get what I'm saying? Like, now, if I did have anything to bring to the table, now I'd be like, nah, she's trying to expose me. What you mean what I bring to the table? Like, I have no problem letting a woman know why I am the best candidate to, for a long-term successful relationship. So I have no problem articulating myself. So I think that's what some men are saying, well, we want to hear it out your mouth, because that's how you hold people accountable, is by their words and by their actions. You get what I'm saying? So I want to hear you say what it is that you can offer a long-term successful relationship, and then I want you to back it up. You know what I mean? If you never tell me what it is, then I can't hold you accountable, because you never let me, you know what I mean? It's like you never verbally communicated that, so I can't even expect. It's like politicians. We hold politicians to those same type of expectations. Like if they say, yo, for your vote, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then when they get in office, they don't do it. Then it's like, you know what I mean? You said you was going to do it. So now I have to hold you accountable. I mean, that's the least of how I look at it. Obviously, other people will look at it another way. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, that's what I was getting at. Is like, what you tell me really doesn't mean anything. It's more about what you do, what you show. You feel me? So before we even started going on a date and I'm talking to you, I'm getting to know you in the process of however you might have approached me, I should be able to tell, like, oh, that's a real man, Like, and that you should be able to look at a woman and say, okay, that's a real woman, that's a lady. I already know what I can expect. Like, when do we stop seeing the value in each other? Like, your words don't mean shit. People tell me all the time they're gonna do this, and that, but it's about how you show up. And I'm not gonna give somebody the time of day that I feel like is gonna waste it or is not worthy of me. So just to go back to the whole beginning of it, when I said that they're not qualified, it's like nowadays it's all about a high value man, a high value woman. And half of the men that's beating on their chest like King Kong saying, I want a feminine, submissive woman and I'm high value. They're not,
So you think, so what you're saying is only those caliber of men deserve feminine and submissive women, is what you're saying?
And then you get into caliber, and then we start talking about 6 figures. But I'm not even looking at 6 figures. I'm saying a man who is a genuine, real man, who shows up, who provides for you. And I'm not even saying finances, which we do need the finance. Okay, you're going to have some of this. Right. But you should provide for your woman, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And vice versa. You get what I'm saying? So that man that shows up for you, that has your back, he's your rock, and then he invests in you with his money and his time, he deserves that woman, because automatically she's going to fall in suit. She's going to fall in line, and she's going to let you lead. Now, I can't speak for all women, but majority of women that I know and that I'm around, my ladies and ladies I teach, that's what I see.
The hard part is for most men, when we give and we give and we give, and then some women take advantage of that. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard for, like I've said this before, like it's hard to point out a good woman when they're standing next to the bad ones. You get what I'm saying? So if every woman is doing the same shit, whether you're a great quality of a woman, and you chilling with girls that's not, and you doing the same thing that they not, it's hard for us. You could be telling us one thing. That's why he said we live through your words and then your actions. So it's kind of hard to point out what is a good woman, and then she's not leading, like you said, a man has to earn for a woman to be feminine. That should be natural. You get what I'm saying? And that's easier for a man to point you out, like, okay, I'm willing to, give my all or go to the next level. We have to stalemate to see who's going to cave in first, and it's preventing successful relationships.
So you're saying femininity should be natural?
Femininity, yeah. Submission is obviously somebody that is, your husband or your boyfriend, somebody that you're in a serious relationship with. I think they earn your submission, but naturally, like I think, because women would never let men I can never come up to you and say, yo, I'm feminine until I can meet the right woman and make me, I have to lead in my masculinity. That's what attracted you to me in the first place, because of my masculine energy. Like, if I was on some, hey sis, that's a night, I love those hills, you won't be fucking with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this is why, you know, I hear women say, you know, Black women specifically have to be masculine, X, Y, and Z. And I do understand that. But at my age, you have to lead in your, when I meet you, you have to lead in your fem, because I'm a lead in my masculinity, and I'm not trying to wrestle with you to get you to I'm not doing all that. I'm too old for that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Either you lead in it or you don't. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
may I say something?
Sure.
Just to point out that part is like, first, and you probably heard a lot of women say this, in order for a woman to be feminine in their relationship, they have to feel safe, right? So that's why you're making a comment like you automatically got to be masculine, right? But in the beginning, we already talked about masculinity is doing, action, results, problem solving, right? Femininity is more of an emotion. So if, you know, more of an emotion and being, how can I explain it? Perfect example, this is what I say on my podcast, right? If you are hungry and you're getting home from work and you're driving and you're like, I'm hungry, I need something to eat, right? Masculine energy will be like, all right, I need to solve my problem. I see Popeyes, I'm gonna pull over and get some Popeyes. I don't care, it fixes it. Feminine energy is more like, I'm gonna go to my favorite restaurant because of the ambiance and the way it makes me feel, and I like that they cook the food like this in front of me, you know what I'm saying? So you see the difference? So I say all of that to say that when it comes to femininity, you can't expect a woman sometimes to just automatically just like be that when you meet her, because she has to feel safe. If you leave me in the jungle, I'm not going to have a dress on the hills. I'm going to have to adapt to my environment, you know? That makes sense? So she can be friendly when you meet her. She can be, you know, I guess girly and appealing and be nice, pleasant. But to actually get her vulnerable side, she got to feel safe with you. She got to feel
but
like...
you're talking about vulnerable. I'm not asking you to open up and be like, you know, if I'm having a casual conversation with you and I'm trying to get to know you, I see you look attractive, I want to have a conversation with you, I expect you to lead in your... It shouldn't be like, damn, I see a nigga got a gun. Now I feel safe, and now I want, like, you know, it should just be natural, because again, we don't have that excuse to never not be masculine. Like, you get what I'm saying? So again, femininity is what attracts men to women. Like,
that shit is powerful.
Like, it's so powerful, but it's like, I know I'm gonna rant about this. I'm not even gonna do it. It's just so powerful, and I just wish our women would understand it more, because feminine energy can put you in more rooms than masculine energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of women have used their feminine energy throughout the course of history to get what they want out of men. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the power. That's the superpower y'all have. You know what I mean? So,
and I think sometimes people don't realize when, like, I don't think people are necessarily, let me say this. I think femininity also is something that you have to be conscious of. Why are you laughing at me?
No, it's not grab a drink.
I think it's something that you have to be conscious of. I think a lot of women, not all, but even just from friends that I've had to let go, things like that, a lot of people are living in survival mode. I think a lot of people tend to live in the past based off of the bad experiences they had. And I think men too. I think we often look at things as, oh, it's a woman's problem or a man problem. I think we as humans, we as people, we all tend to have a lot of people are hurt, right? So I think sometimes people don't necessarily look at the situation. They don't take what they can learn from it and how they can grow from it. I think a lot of times it's, oh, well, this person did this to me, so now I'm gonna treat everybody like this because I'm hurt. That blocks you from being able to grow and move forward and being your feminine. You know, I think that's definitely something that's important. So I think healing is a big key on that as well. So I think sometimes, you know, men, you know, if they approach a woman and a woman turns them down and they're a bit rough about it, then they feel like, oh, well, you know, fuck her. She rough and she masculine or whatever. But sometimes you don't necessarily know. And I'm not making an excuse, but I think sometimes people don't know what people's story and what they've been through. So I think sometimes people are rough for when you start to date someone or whatever the case. And I'm not saying that that's acceptable if that's what you don't want to deal with. But I think sometimes there's more to the story. Just like how some men have certain feelings as to why they don't want to do certain things for women. There's a reason for that. That doesn't come from nowhere. It's all about changing perspective. And I don't think it's necessarily like a teaching moment for them or, oh, well, what can I do to change them or make them do better? That's something that you have to want to do. But that's why I think it's like a conscious effort you have to make in order to move forward.
So yeah, that's why I was asking, well, that's why I brought up like the difference between it and trying to pick his brain, because some men get femininity confused with just being friendly, you know? And a lot of women, like once you described it or whatever, I'm like, okay, I get what he's saying. Like if you say hi to a girl, she's like, yo, what's up, nigga? Like that's a little that's a little mad, it's a little rough, you know what I mean? So I would say, okay, that's a little masculine, that's masculine energy. But a lot of women, especially Black women, it's not that they're not feminine, they have wounded feminine energy. That's why, you know, in one of your previous episodes, you had a girl saying, oh, well, I no longer date for love, I date for money. That's because she got hurt. You know, when she really wanted to say, okay, now I date for stability, but she couldn't like put the words together and, you know what I mean? Because she need to heal. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of women.
But there was a lot of women agreeing with her.
Because they hurt too, baby. A lot of Black women are hurt. That's why you got the independent, I don't need a nigga pushing, because they daddy didn't show up for them, or Day and Ray didn't show up for them, or Marcus ain't show up for them. And now they just like, I'm going to be like this until he proves himself worthy. That's why we were saying in the beginning, like, a lot of men nowadays are feminine. If you come around me and you feminine, I ain't gonna mess with you because you gonna force me to be in my masculine. And if femininity is my currency.
You see how much of a turnoff that is for you? A man operating in his feminine energy.
Yeah, you're correct.
That's exactly how men feel when we see women operating in their masculine. It's like, nah, I just don't want to deal with that. I'd rather go elsewhere, rather, you know, find me another Black woman, whatever the case is, because I know there's Black women capable of being feminine, obviously. But, you know, we are getting met a lot more with the masculine energy, and you have to break down this wall that you know, because of the trauma I've dealt with in order for me to exhibit this feminine. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It even goes to the point where if you don't accept that challenge from a woman, you're less of a man, because you're not a real man, because you don't want to put up with it or help her get submissive or get in her feminine.
Out masculine her. Like,
yeah, exactly. So now you're feminine. You're pussy. Like, niggas don't want to hear that shit. You like, all right, well, whatever.
And the same way that you said that it's turning you off, you didn't think about, why he's feminine enough.
That's not my job.
That's what we saying. It's not your job.
I agree with y'all.
Right. It's not our job.
Look.
That's why
we good.
Well, that's why I was saying I think it's like one of those things where it's not necessarily like a moment where you're like, okay, well, I see this project. Let me see what I can do to fix them or you know, make the situation better or make them be a better project. Not everybody wants to do that. So and to me, I think obviously that I think it depends on the person. Like, I feel like that's reasonable. If you see somebody and you feel like, okay, I feel like you can tell the character of a person when you first get to know them. You're like, all right, I don't feel like I want to deal with this. Nobody's perfect, you know. So naturally, there's gonna be certain qualities that you might like in a person. There's certain qualities you're not gonna like, but there's certain ones that, you know, will determine whether or not obviously you want to be with someone or not. Some good outweigh the bad, or some bad outweigh the good, I guess.
That's fair. For sure. But so y'all just saying, just to go back to the original topic, that most modern men don't deserve feminine and submissive women. I would agree with you. You know what I mean? Like I said, the submissive part is I think that's for, you know, what your significant other. That's the part that's earned. That your significant other should get. You get what I'm saying? If you're in a relationship with somebody, that means you trust them enough, obviously, you know, that you would put yourself in a relationship with them. So of course you should be more submissive to them. You know what I mean? These hypothetical scenarios that women like to make, is like, none of that matters because you're not dating these other men. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that y'all be upset by what men say. That's cool. Y'all not dating them. So I don't expect y'all to be submissive. But feminine, yes, I do still expect y'all to naturally be operating y'all feminine energy. That's just me personally. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
So,
well, when I made the question, I was talking about like in a relationship. I wasn't talking about like, oh, you just walking up to her. Like in a relationship. And if you felt that he was qualified enough that you decided to agree to be in a relationship, then yes, he does deserve your feminine and submission. Like, you know what I mean?
But here, can I ask you?
Some men are not good leaders.
So why are you in the
relationship?
No. I'm not in a relationship with him. I just said that. But once I meet you, I'm not gonna deal with you. But I'm just saying from what I have experienced, I know, like not experience that's in dating, but like what I come across day to day or whatever. A lot of modern men are not leaders. They're not masculine. I'm not trying to bash nobody. She hate men. It's not like that, okay? But a lot of modern men, they're not good at making decisions, and there's numerous reasons why a lot of them are feminine. So when you're submissive, you're giving your power to somebody else. So why would I put myself in the back seat or the passenger seat and say, hey, babe, here's the keys, drive me, and I know that you're not good at leading, you know? And it's nothing that we should take personal, because you know, in order to make a relationship work, it has to be feminine and masculine energy. So maybe he's feminine, he just need a masculine woman.
Are you talking about a relationship?
That's what I was talking about this whole time.
But that's what I'm saying. If you committed yourself to a relationship with this man, I would hope that you have done your due diligence and seen that he was capable of being a leader in X, Y, and Z, or else why would you be in a relationship with him? Now, if you're talking about regular men on the street, then that's a whole different scenario. You
Mhm.
never vetted those men out. You could tell
Mm-hmm.
you're not in a relationship with them because they acting feminine. Like, you get what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
if you have committed to a relationship with a guy, and like I said, I would hope that you have done your due diligence. If not, then you
Okay.
just
Vetting.
haven't vetted him
Mhm.
properly, and then that's on you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question. What is your idea of when you approach a woman that she's in her feminine? What does that mean to you?
What does it look?
What does it
like?
look like?
I look at femininity as just a energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, even when I have certain conversations, it's not about with women. It's not about, oh, she's soft and soft spoken and
Mhm.
docile and, you know, she's weak or nothing. It's just the energy that I could just naturally feel off of her that makes me want to just protect her, want to provide for her.
Mhm.
Like, things this is a natural energy. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Agree.
Now, if you
Mhm.
want to, if you feel like you want to be combative all the time or want to, I don't got a problem with challenging a man. But if you looking to blatantly challenge him to be a headache, there's
Right.
certain ways how to communicate that. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, now you want to give constructive criticism is one thing, but if you just want to be combative just to prove that you the alpha or
Yeah, you wanna
whatever,
I
they
think
can
that's
do,
what
you know
I
what
think
mean?
that's what a lot of it is truly, like, you know,
Mm.
and I do understand women are, you know, they say more educated than men. They go to school and all that. So when they meet a man from their neighborhood, they're already off the rip, ain't really trusting his word as a leader because they already think they know more than him. So
Mhm.
how do you feel like you could feel comfortable listening to somebody that you feel like you're smarter than?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.